Hey, this is Chris from Don't Let Them Burn. Welcome to our first live stream this year. And we're going to be talking about the presidential debates that happened last night. We might talk about some other things as well. Um, wherever you are, if you are, whatever state you are, join us in the chat. Today I have my guest, our friend David Paxton. David, how you doing? All right.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man.
Well, I was some train wreck last night.
Oh yeah. I took down a ton of notes, as you know, and I just want to read over some of these notes. It's so crazy how this Joe Biden guy was just so polished, and we'll get to a part of that polishedness, that polished personality in a second, why it was so. We see Trump looking a little irate, right? But I don't think he was. I really don't think he was. What's your opinions on that?
I think he studied the art of war.
By
Sun. What's his name?
I got the book here.
Sung Soo?
Sun Tzu.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one of the tenets is to make your enemies think you're crazy. And a lot of times I think he does that on purpose.
Oh, yeah. That also boils over into the 48 laws of power. But, I think Trump is playing three-dimensional chess. I think he might have been clued into what was going on, which we'll mention in a second when we share our screen. But they want to expand Obamacare. For those out there that really don't know what's going on with Obamacare, it's socialized medicine. So if you ever heard the term "pay your fair share," or community. Community, the word itself doesn't really mean much. It's just gathering of people or people in a culture. But for them, it means basically you are going to take care of each other financially, right? So they suck money from the poor, suck money from the rich, and eventually they'll run out of money. Hello, eat all now. So they'll suck money from. So everybody will pay their fair share, but it will never be fair, right? Because, let's say, for instance, before President Trump got rid of the penalties, I went like 2 years paying like $1,300 for what?
You got nothing.
Yeah, I'm like. This is crazy. So that money that I'm going to pay, God knows where it's going to go. Is it actually going to go to somebody's health care? Or
No,
just
we know where it's going to go.
Yeah.
So those false tests. Oh, yeah, we're doing research. Yeah, how much ketchup does it take to do this?
Yeah.
And the problem is this. I can either pay for my health insurance, which is $100, or I can give someone else $100, and they take 50, and then they give $50 to my health care.
Right. Yes.
And that's pretty much what they're doing. Reminds me of Bugs Bunny. Remember that? He go, hey, Rocky, one for you, one for me. Two for you, one, two for me.
Yeah.
Three for you, one, two, three for me.
Yep. They're saying you got feedback in your headphones. Oh, your mic. But yeah, let's keep going. Hopefully the echo.
Let me switch out the mic.
Okay, there's echo. All right. So the point is, to expand Obamacare really means it's a dangerous situation when it comes to all of our healthcare. But you have to do the research, and in fact, if you want to, those of you out there that are concerned about this and really know what's going on, you need to go and read Obamacare. I can't remember how many pages. You remember how many pages it was?
8 million.
probably like 1,000 pages or something like that.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
I think it's 1,700.
1,700 pages. Yeah, how's the echo now, guys? Let us know. So what Trump is trying to do, and he's doing a great job, by the way. If you've been watching his presentations, his rallies, and the stuff he's saying basically our Medicare, Medicaid, healthcare costs are going to go down. The price for medicine is going to go down drastically. You know, imagine you're diabetic and you have to pay $500 for some insulin that'll only last you maybe a month. That's
all that extra money's going.
Oh, they're saying it's still echoing. That's interesting. Wow. So what Trump is doing through executive orders and, you know, dealing with some of these corporations, the big pharma and all of that, is helping us in a lot of ways, especially if you have pre-existing conditions. He's cutting that foolishness out. So if you had a heart attack before, if you had cancer, whatever it is, basically, when you go to these healthcare providers, they don't want to take you because they know, you know, the insurance companies, they don't want to take you because they know they'll have to push out a lot of money because of these high medical expenses. The whole system is just, you know, jacked up, right? And that's why it's important to stay healthy. You know, I'm not a big health nut, but with my condition, I have to eat right. I eat clean, grass-fed, this and that. You know, I take, you know, some supplements, not a lot, not a whole ton because it can get outrageous. I exercise, and, you know, that's what it is. So I'm not in the hospital every 2 seconds, right? So that's important, especially with the way that our, you know, healthcare is right now. So, still there, Mr. Hidden Day, David? Or you need me to keep going? All right, I think he's still fixing his issues there. So what else? We had Roe v. Wade on the table, and of course they want to keep that going because of the whole leftist abortion issue going on. We call it the murder of babies. I don't care who wants to, censor because of what I just said. Listen, we're murdering babies. It's a life. It's not even a debate. It's really not a debate because it's been known that it's been a life for thousands of years, right? And so in our modern time, from modernism and postmodernism, then the uncrouching atheist mindset, the leftist mindset or whatever, which is nothing new, by the way. If you go and read Plato's writings, Plato's Republic, he had some leftist leaning ideologies in there. So we're talking about slavery and all. When I say slavery, I don't mean, you know, what we're talking about today, some other stuff. So anyway, why the left wants to hammer and hammer and hammer at this abortion issue. We've seen God move in a certain direction. Let me add you back here. How's it now? How's the echo?
Can anyone hear an echo?
Is there an echo, guys? Yeah, you're right. Molech sacrifices. Baal, Molech, pretty much the same thing. Can you guys, is there echo? Let us know. So, yeah, we're talking about abortion now, David. The Roe v. Wade debate last night. It's just, you know, they want to keep the murder going because
they have to. That's how they get their power.
Yeah, and their power, right? What do you call it? Sorry. It's a money industry. It's a $1 billion industry, just like the child sex trafficking, all of the things going on over there in the Middle East and Africa. All of it adds up to the same thing. They're saying, yeah, they can still hear echo. Is it super bad, or is it not that bad as it was before? So anyway, then Biden goes on and claims that Trump caused the recession. How is that? How did Trump cause the recession? We had COVID. The economy was booming. as President Trump iterated many times last night, and
now it's gone back up.
Exactly. Now it's gone back up during COVID, during lockdown. It would have collapsed if we just kept bowing, capitulating to this doggone virus. So he's doing a great job in my eyes. What do you say?
I think so. What they have to try and produce. See, here's the thing. Let me back up a little bit. My thoughts are way over here. I got to back up. Trump is the billionaire, and there was such a nice guy in the past who would always give people money. So he gave all these people money, so they all suck up to him, and he became his friend, and he was a friend for a while. Yeah. And then he saw all the corruption that was going on with all these evil people, and he's like, I gotta get in and fix this. So he knows all their secrets, and that's the problem. That's their problem. He knows all their secrets. He knows what they're doing. He knows how they're doing it. As one person, it's hard for him to fix everything. So he's got to get in there. He's got to get into politics. He's got to try and clean it up. He's got obviously some people that are helping him do it.
Right.
And so I see it. All of this is playing into that. So now that they know that he knows all their secrets and they're all going down in flames, then they have to do everything they can to stop him. It's like that rabid raccoon that's stuck in a corner when you get him protecting his babies.
Right. Yeah.
They got to do whatever they got to do, even if it hurts themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see it like I always explain it like it's like a dog showing his teeth. That's what the whole party and the deep state is doing right now, and I think Trump is letting them show their hand. He's forcing them to show their hand so that people could really wake up to what's really going on. Let's see what else we have here.
That's a really good point. He's tweaking them. And at one side of this, he's making them think he's nuts, that he can't handle it, so they feel confident enough in themselves to show their hand. And at that point, this is really, really good game.
Yeah. The amount of articles that came out over the last month or two, Pelosi talking about she's going to use the military to get him out there. Then the military, I think it was a general or something, came out and said, no, we're not going to do that.
Thanks for asking. Crazy. No.
Yeah, and they're on TV so confident about fumigating Trump out of the White House because they have a plan. I mean, if people can't see they have a serious plan going on here, they need to wake up. So anyway, going on, we have, let me see, not denying socialized medicine. I think we just covered that. So basically, a lot of stuff that Biden was saying it was all empty talk. It was like a script. And he kept looking at the camera, trying to, get into the hearts of people that don't know better. Mm-hmm. And then he's using fear to get at them. Oh, what he said? A lot more people are going to die.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Like it's Trump's fault. He killed everybody.
This is ridiculous. They blame everything on Trump. And they try to use COVID as this racial mechanism as well. Oh, the African American this and da.
Yeah.
Really?
That's why we have COVID. And he also caused global warming in the last 4 years.
Oh yeah, that too. We got to talk about global warming. I want to explain something to the people. The people that are not aware, okay? This whole global warming, climate. Listen, I'm a '70s kid, okay? So I grew up at the time when it was global cooling. Mm-hmm. Then it was the ozone layer.
Yep.
And it was global warming, and now it's climate change. You know why they use climate change?
Because it ain't warming.
All the time, you have to define the terms. It's a term that no one could argue against. The climate changes all day. All day. So they use that to bring in a system which is built on pagan witchcraft, worship of the earth, worship of Gaia. And so they're going to use
not Goya, just to be clear.
Gaia.
Yeah.
And they're using this system to basically bring in higher taxes on your energy, it's going to get so okay. If they're allowed to, because we see instances of this in Canada and in Europe, where people are getting taxed for higher on their gas, depending on how much they use, where they drive. You have your smart meters. The smart meters are taxed based on your energy production plus the radiation that comes from it's dangerous for you. Um, what else? In Canada, and I should have brought up the article. I didn't plan on talking about this, but they have where they put these mechanisms on the cow's rectum. It's a thing that goes around the cow, and then they put it in the rectum.
Fart meter?
They catch the flatulation from the cows. Because
what do you do? Well, I'm a cow fart catcher.
yeah, it's
what do you
ridiculous. And then you have the tree huggers that lay down on the road to stop you from going cutting down trees or whatnot. You know, all of this.
And that's the funny part. Here they are, and they're complaining about carbon.
Yeah.
So, oh, you're creating all this, carbon dioxide. Isn't that what the trees eat?
Pretty much.
So here's the idiocy of the loony left is we're creating too much carbon, but that's the very thing that makes the trees grow more, and then it's the same idiocy that says, oh, we got to ban plastic straws.
Yeah.
Okay, but everyone has to wear a mask every day. So now the oceans are full of masks. I don't know if you saw that down here by the water here. You're out in the middle of the desert, so you don't see it. But the water's full of millions of masks. They're just falling all over the street, and they're blowing out. It's just idiotic.
And we're going to get to the mask issue in a second. Yeah. So what you're talking about there, it's such a broad range of topics when it comes to environmentalism. Didn't you have Greta Thunberg is being used by the elites?
Thunderbird. Let me pull that up.
Climate change lunacy. And then on top of it, Joe Biden kind of hinted like we don't have much time, just like Ocasio-Cortez is trying to say as well. What they're saying really is we need to lock down the globe and control it within 10 to 12 years. That's what they're saying. And if you guys know about Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030, think of the time frame. Think of the time frame, right? So he's in the hands of the globalists. He's in the hands of the left, the crazy left, the radical left. And also, just to put another point in there for people that don't know, okay, so the beginning of the Democrat Party was all awful. It was KKK, slavery, and all this other stuff, right? And as it progressed, somewhere they became like this mid ground within the Democratic Party, where not everybody was for all that stuff. But as we progress even further to where we live now, we have a system of the occult coming in, the witches praying against Trump. We have the Black Lives Matter that do the witchcraft. When you hear them out there saying, say her name, Breonna Taylor, or whoever they're going to say,
they're summoning the demons up.
Summoning a spirit. It's about the summoning of ancestors and all this foolishness, but it's not the spirit of Breonna Taylor or whoever else. So they're doing witchcraft, and they want you to say the chant so that the spirit can rise up and they take on that spirit of whoever else. The same thing goes for Trayvon Martin, where you wear these shirts and it says, I am Trayvon Martin. It's the same exact motif.
Oh, witchcraft. And the sad part is they think that the black community is dumb. So they just go, oh yeah, we'll get them to do all this stuff and just tell them it's Black Lives Matter and whatnot, and it's always about race, and because that was like a hot button.
Yeah.
They think it's a hot button, and they're kind of trying to keep that hot button going.
Yeah, exactly. So as we move on here, so could we touch the Medicare? the nation. We need to stay on this topic of the climate accords that President Trump pulled out of. With Trump pulling out of the TPP and the climate accords and the what's it called there? Oh my goodness!
I don't know all the initials, but I know they get their they get their panties in a bunch quick over that because that's where they're stealing all the money from.
Right, the WHO. He cut their legs off, okay? And people don't understand, well, not everybody, but some people don't understand how serious that was. The WHO, United Nations, Davos, Bilderberg, World Economic Forum. If you don't know about these entities, you need to do your research. They are the ones basically controlling the world, where it's going, even with COVID. All the numbers you see that came out when the crisis hit. So with Trump taking power back from them to America, we still have to worry about individuals within our nation that want to lock us down and control us through technology and all this other stuff, right? But we've kind of pulled out of that, minus the United Nations and of course the Federal Reserve. Anything you want to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, again, Trump knows what they're up to, and he's the last player in this. I mean, ever since before I was born, I just remember them, trying to get into the New World Order, and so they killed JFK probably for the same reason, because he wanted to put us back on American money as opposed to the paper money.
Yeah.
And I think George I was in on that too, so as the conspiracy goes. Yeah. So he just knows, and I look at him as a modern day Cyrus. I know many of you Christians who are into that will know that back in the day, King Cyrus allowed Israel to rebuild the temple, and he stirred up a lot of things along the way, and it's kind of a lot of parallels with that.
Yes.
One of them being the world powers that be. And when we look at the mythology, quote, which are real stories, you cut off the head of the, what's her name? The snake, and then she grows a whole bunch of other heads. Medusa, yeah. And then they grow another head, so now they're all like all over the place. And they're all running around like crazy trying to, get their own power. That's kind of how I see it.
Yeah,
I see this too. I wanted to show you real quick. Greta Thunderbird.
Oh, wait a minute. I got to show it. I got to put it on screen. Hold on. Add the stream. There we go. Yeah.
Remember Thunderbirds?
Yeah.
What is Greta Thunderbird?
Yeah. I mean, this girl is just getting used and used and used.
I know. All of a sudden, she's like an authority.
Yeah. Like, come on, get out of here. So anyway,
wow.
Let me remove. Hold on.
There we go.
So people took it as, Trump was being irate. I don't see it like that. He knew what's up. And
yeah, he did. And you know what? When you remember being in school? All right. You always had a little hard time with the kid who was obnoxious, right?
Yeah.
And he was always cause these things, but in the end, who did you want on your side when there was a fight?
The guy that
you go get the bully who's really obnoxious and not afraid to tell people like it is, and you don't have to live with the man. But if he's on your side, he's fighting for all things Christian, for rights to go to church, or free speech, and the freedom to worship, and anti-abortion, and all these things he's fighting for. I want him fighting on our side, even if he is a bit obnoxious.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on. I mean, people pick out the most ridiculous things. I could see if he was calling them all kinds of swear words or whatever. He's telling the truth. And you need somebody strong enough to stand up to these people, because they're obnoxious as well. Look at the stuff they're trying to do.
And they're worse because they're pretending they're not, and they're trying to kill you.
Yeah. When this guy says, when Trump was talking to him, and they were going back and forth with the banter. He says, "Will you shut up, man? Will you shut up, man?"
Telling the most powerful man in the world to shut up.
Yeah, I mean, no respect at all.
That's not going to look good in a little
and he
while.
called him a clown twice.
Mm.
And now you're running for president. That's not necessarily how you want to carry yourself. Trump does it in another way.
Mm-hmm.
And usually he does the more obnoxious stuff at his rallies or somewhere else,
Mm-hmm.
I just see that Joe Biden cannot stand up to President Trump. And the left is using him as a proxy for what they have coming next. My idea is this, and I could be wrong, but Biden, unqualified. Kamala, unqualified. Who else is next? Pelosi. And in the shadows, Obama.
Yep.
Because he never
pulling the
left.
strings. Yeah, he never left. He bought a house down the street.
Yeah.
I don't leave the White House.
Yeah. So, and people don't understand how he's a controlled Marxist.
Amazing.
There's so much we could talk about with Obama, but let's move forward.
Yeah.
So, let's get to the mask again.
The
they
mask.
tried to get President Trump on basically having his rallies, and he made sure he said outside.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, he's going by the rules, folks, right? And what they're trying to do is bring this COVID narrative, like Trump wants people to die.
Yeah, because that's what he wants.
Rallies.
Yeah.
I mean, people with their own money are even having boat rallies?
Yeah, boat parades.
Yeah, boat parades in celebration of America, celebration of the president, where he's trying to take the country. And we all know as Christians, we're not looking for a savior in a man.
Right.
Right? But
we do need a leader.
When you have good leadership, listen, the Bible says, I wish I brought up the quote. The Bible talks about when a bad leader is in position, but people groan.
Yep.
Right? And when we have a good person, we give praise, So.
Yep. And he gives us what we deserve.
Yeah.
So you better be careful.
Exactly. And another thing I can't understand from Christians is they keep saying America needs to be judged. You want God, you know what the judgment of God is like? You want God to judge America with you in it? I don't want that.
Yeah, give me a minute on that. I got to pack.
Yeah, let me get out of here first. The judgment of God is not something to think that you can just be here no. Anyway, I think God judges in certain ways by, there's a lot of arrests going on with child sex trafficking, with drug cartel leaders, a lot of stuff going on that people don't get to pay attention all the time. But I think that God is working in the midst, even when it comes to, again, the murder of babies. There's a lot of these clinics shutting down. Of course, they're fighting it because that's their money stream.
Oh, yeah.
And they're
terrified.
finding ways around it. Why are abortion clinics open during COVID?
Because they need the blood sacrifice
Hey.
of children. I want to talk about the arrest for a minute. I know there's a lot of talk, and there's people on all sides of Q. Okay.
Yeah.
And so some of my friends believe that it's a real person. Some believe it's a team. Some believe that it's a psyop. Some believe that it's the enemy doing all these things. But one of the big questions is, well, how come they haven't made all these arrests yet? Mm-hmm. Okay, so we got all of these things, and for 2.5 years now, we're talking about, we got this person, we got that person, and they're all about to be arrested. And they say, well, how come they haven't arrested Hillary yet? So I think part of that, let's lean on the side of, okay, Q's a real person now, and say, okay, he's letting out information that says, well, we are going to arrest them. But I think all of these lower level people have to be rounded up first. You can't just go and boop and try and arrest the top person, because you got people in the courts, you got people all over the place. But if you start arresting these lower level traffickers, let's say, who says, "Oh my God, I was doing this for the money, and those evil people, they're going to kill me," but and almost thanking God that they got arrested because at least they won't be killed over here, and they're willing to spill their beans, and now they're building up case after case after case. If the evil ones say, "Oh no, we didn't do that," we say, "Well, let's look over here and talk to these people who are the ones you did it with," and building their case, giving them immunity along the way, if you would. What do you think about that?
Oh yeah, I'm there with you, because what somebody said one time, I think it might have been the ex-CIA person, I can't remember, is if the child sex trafficking ring was to, and the what's it called? Anyway, the
pedo ring,
pedo rings and all this stuff, most of the government will fall. So how else are you going to take on an operation like this?
Yeah, a little bit at a time from the bottom up.
People, and at the same time, you see the bigger names, they're running crazy, in Hollywood, in office, in local municipalities. Listen, we need to do a show strictly on this, because there's so many articles from left sources, from right sources. It doesn't even matter.
Now, a lot of people on the right, all of a sudden well, we hate Trump now. There's a lot of rhinos out there.
Yeah, and you know what? This is what irritates me. When people, all they can say is F Trump, and that's it. No real solid reason to say it. I mean, listen, if you don't like the guy, fine, I don't care. But if you're going to say F Trump, and that's all you have to say, give me some reasons why you're saying that.
Yeah, that's not intelligent.
Exactly. I mean, it's not my fault you have a limited vocabulary. Okay, so you need to have a.
Yeah, they got one word. It's a verb. It's an adjective. It's a noun.
Yeah. So another important subject, right, within this debate is the police. Biden wants to defund the police, but won't admit it. And this, of course, is going along with the communist uprising, the communist coup, the
Saul Alinsky. Protest. It's in his book. Saul Alinsky. That's part of the thing in the book. Saul Alinsky. Yeah. Oy, what a book, you guys! If you haven't read that, you just go read it, and then you'll see it's exactly what's playing out now.
Yeah.
The rules for radicals.
And you can go to the Articles of Zion. Some say it's a hoax. I tend to believe it's not. You go to the Communist Manifesto. You go to the 1964. There was they reported on the communist movement back then. I can't remember the name of the article right now, or the report. But that report was taken from a book that was pretty popular at the time, and I have the book on my desktop. I can't remember the name. So anyway, then you go to Saul Alinsky, you go to Alice Bailey, which had her 10 points, which all reflects the same thing, right? Basically, make divorce easy, get rid of marriage, bring in all these alternative lifestyles, debase art and make it run wild, make sure that you flood entertainment with all sorts of debauchery.
Yep, you got to flood the narrative. That's part of it.
Right. So the communist takeover is multi-pronged, right? So, and there are people that question, is Trump Jesuit because he went to a Jesuit school? Well, there are people that have gone to Catholic schools that didn't come out Catholic.
I went to McDonald's and I'm not a hamburger.
And the way that he's moving is not in reflection of a Jesuit. Because we know.
If anything, he learned some of their tricks, and now he knows how to. It's nothing worse than your enemy who knows all your moves.
That's a really good point there. So I don't buy that. I don't buy that he's a Jesuit working with the Catholics and all the Catholic Church anyway. The long arm, the head,
if he was, the Pope would like him.
Yeah, there you go. Another good point. The Pope
Yeah,
will like him
the
because he's
fish-headed
come out
dude
against
doesn't
Trump as
like
well.
him.
Yeah. So we have to get all the ducks in a row when it comes to the points about President Trump, what he's done during this 4 years, all the accomplishments, especially for Black Americans that just don't get it. But you know what I'm finding out, and I found this out through one of my friends, that a lot of people that we used to go to church with or we used to hang around, they're socialists
Yep.
because they brought that mindset from another place where they used to live. They're not saying it out loud, but you could tell by what they agree with.
Yeah, they're not socialists, but they do want the government to take care of everything.
Right. And this whole thing about going into the police aspect, this systematic racism, we mentioned this. I mentioned this on another show. It is not systematic. We don't realize what systematic racism really looks like. We couldn't do anything, you know.
Yeah, that'd be
take these little
ridiculous.
points.
Systematic.
Yeah,
What
these little
system?
incidents that happen and say it's systematic.
Yeah, the last president was black. Yeah, it was so systematic. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's another good point. Yeah, we had a black president. So, okay, what happened there? And you know what? I was thinking about this today. When I was growing up, I was infected a little bit with this the notion of the white man, the white man, the white man, right?
The man.
And guess what I did? I used my black privilege to get a raise at a job using that ideology.
Nice.
So people don't understand where the term white privilege came from. I have a couple books here about it. It's just a term made up to demoralize a section of society so that you can have racial tension, right? And now you see it fomenting with Black Lives Matter, Antifa, the liberal professors in college. They're white, but they talk about their own skin color in a derogatory way. And so it's another plot to get rid of the middle class and making another ethnicity seem like they don't have the same privilege as another. Now, of course, there's instances, we could bring up the little instances of how somebody helps somebody in the workplace, but it happens with black people too. Stop it.
Yeah, it does. I can tell you, I was at a black church, and there was things I was actually shunned from just because of my color.
You know? Yeah,
that's like, I mean, it wasn't even given like, let's say the opportunity to perform in this role. Let's say,
right?
Because you want to, okay, yeah, thank you, you know, just kind of brushed me off, and I'm like, oh, so that's what they're talking about.
And that's another problem. It's in the Christian church. There's racism on both sides, but I don't think, again, I don't think it's systematic.
It's not systematic
at all. It's just these individuals that lean on whatever they've been taught, and some of them are plants, by the way. Some of them are plants from the Masonic Order, from the social, what's it called, Frankfurt School of Socialism, Fabian Socialists. There's more than two other people I could name as far as like a conglomerate. So listen, we need to sort these things out within the church, within our homes, within our population, because I know we've gone, on a couple topics outside of the debate, but these are important things to understand what's going on.
Well, this is what the debate is about, ultimately.
Say again, please.
This is what the debate is about, ultimately.
Pretty much.
All these things that you can't wrap up everything in at that hour and a half.
Yeah.
But these are the outlying arguments, if you would.
Absolutely. So they went on to the what was it called? Oh, Biden wants to reimagine the police. What a colorful term.
We're going to reimagine them.
Reimagine. Yes, there's a problem in police departments, but come on, man.
Problem everywhere.
You know, I mean, come on. Okay, so let me explain something to you guys, and I try to talk about this as much, as often as I can. Okay, there's something called the Strong Cities Network. You need to do your research on it. So when you hear about reimagining the police, this is what they're talking about. It'll be like the brown shirts in Nazis, okay? And it'll be a global police force structured by the United Nations, okay? If you haven't heard of the Strong Cities Network, go look up what Obama was saying about it, Loretta Lynch, and all these people. It's something that's encroaching on our global apparatus because globalism needs to take over. God is going to allow some things because the 7-year tribulation has to come. It has to come.
Already happened.
But
in the prophetic
at the time
sense,
we're still here, and this 7-year tribulation is not here. The Antichrist is not here, and the beast is not here. Revelation 13. So we believe in a future rapture. These things can come in before the rapture, even though the rapture is imminent. It can happen.
Well,
right
they
now.
would have to. They'd have to be in place.
Yeah.
So when this thing happens, then they can, all of a sudden we're missing. Oh, well, we just happen to have this plan here, so let's just do it now.
Right. And you have to understand that all of the plans that they have go all the way back to Babylon.
Yep.
Okay, and then from there it goes all the way back to the Garden of Eden.
Yep.
But once we have the foundation, which is Lucifer, and if you don't believe in Christianity or Jesus Christ and spirits, sorry, this is true.
Yeah. I would suggest maybe look into that.
Yeah, I mean, this is documented.
Because you don't want to die and then find out then.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
let me talk about that too, because you talk about it going back to ancient Babylon, which is where all the structure started, and that was after the flood. Before the flood, I believe they had this structure already. We just talked about that on AI weirdness.
Yeah.
The
Antediluvian world.
Yep. Yeah. So before that, I think we had all this technology and everything that they're looking at now, at least some form of it, and what they could do back then. And some people think there's even billions of people on the planet at the time, and and God saved 8 through it, which leads us to, hey, after this tribulation, how many people are going to be left? Because there's going to be at least a few to populate the millennium. Yeah. I wonder if it'll be 8 again. Only 8 people left on the planet.
That would be something.
But the Essenes even wrote about stuff like this, and in the Dead Sea Scrolls, you'll find in the early church fathers, they'll say, listen, at the end of this age, because they were dispensationalists, yes, and that's what the gospel is all about. Yeah. There's different times. So when the dispensation of grace is what they called it, is over, that's the church age, then there'll be that little bit of time left from Daniel. They understood exactly when the Messiah was come. The Essenes, if you read the Dead Sea Scrolls, they picked the exact day. They said, okay, the Messiah is going to come in and be triumphant on this day. Boom, and he did. And then they said, okay, and then there's going to be an age of grace, and then there's going to be that final week in Daniel. And they picked all this in the Dead Sea Scrolls a couple hundred years before Yeshua was born. Yeah. But also they said at the end of this age, the ancient Hindu religion will come in of evolution. And you got to be careful of that, because that's going to break down people's belief in God to allow all these ancient Babylonian practices to creep in again.
That's interesting. I never thought of, and they're correct, I never thought of Hinduism being a part of the evolutionary theory. But I know some things about Hinduism, and now it makes sense. It makes sense. When you hear people saying karma, that has nothing to do with what you think it means. It's not about you doing something bad and energy coming back to you. Karma is reincarnation. That's the definition of it. So the people that believe in this stuff, they also have an evolutionary mindset, because you were born perfect and you messed up along the way, and now you have to get it right in order to ascend and become a God man. But I'm going to leave that there because I want to
That's
keep
another
going
show.
towards our main subject. I hope you guys are enjoying the information. I hope you're taking notes because all of this is important for a broader world view when it comes to globalism, China, the battle that we're facing with technocracy, the encroaching technology overflow that's really coming towards us at warp speed. Speaking of warp speed, they talked about the vaccines, right? And you notice what Joe Biden said. And this is not verbatim, but he basically said, yeah, Trump got a vaccine coming, but I don't trust this guy. So you're telling us you don't trust his vaccine, but you talk about anti-vaxxers, but you would love for us to take on Bill Gates' quantum
Oh
dot
yeah, we trust
matrix
Bill Gates.
vaccines, right? So I'm just
Bill
showing
Gates
you the
can't keep
hypocrisy.
virus out of Windows. What makes you think he'd keep it out of us?
I know, right? You know, all of this, there's so many moving parts to follow, and I know it's hard, and people don't have time to, pay attention. But that's why we do our programs. It's about exposing darkness, giving you the gospel, and some broader explanations within all that. So another thing that Joe Biden said, he said, being out of the climate accords, things things with no facts will fall apart. He didn't have any facts when he said that. He was just placating on your fear. Your fear. Because most people, have you ever seen
The world's going to end.
Yeah.
We're going to die in 2 years.
Right.
If you elect Trump, we're going to be dead in 2 years.
Yeah. Have you seen some of the pictures out there? The ridiculous pictures of people having plastic hampers on their head. That's their face mask.
Yep.
You have people walking in these stores with diving suits, plastic wrap, all sorts of craziness. Okay?
See if you could find it. There was a guy over here during the summer. I was walking down one of the streets here in Queens, and it was like 95 degrees and humid. And this dude was walking down the street by himself with a full hazmat suit on. In addition to the hazmat suit, he had another face shield over the top of it. Carrying his briefcase. I'm like, what the?
That's crazy, man.
Let's see if we can find it.
Reacting out of fear. Listen, there are those of us that we have gotten information, and some of us are well equipped to protect people or give them other information, because these are the people that don't research, and maybe they didn't have enough education, whatever the case is, okay? You could be an educated fool. So I'm not peeing on people because they haven't read a book or something, okay? I've talked to some very educated people, and they weren't street smart. They when you talk
but
to them,
they knew what was going on.
Their eyes glaze over. So I'm not trying to be like a what do you call that, educational snob, right? Because listen, I dropped out of my first semester of college. I just got back into college for Bible study, studying the Bible. Okay, so I'm not one of those snobs. I'm just saying, if people aren't taught to think critically and being a free thinker, they end up in these positions to where they can't think, because they believe everything they've seen on the TV, which I don't even think television hasn't even been around for 100 years, huh?
No.
I don't think so.
I mean, it was invented in what, like the 30s?
So
I think it was invented to try and look into the future.
Right, the future and all that stuff. But my whole point is, if you can't critically think, if you can't follow the stream of information and dissect the lies, then you have problems. We've watched so many disaster movies, virus movies, and all this stuff. And so when this thing hits, that fear that's within your subconscious about, a virus that could eat your flesh or whatever it is, we think that it's gonna. We think we're gonna see people falling out on the streets everywhere. It's like a zombie apocalypse. Okay. we have those images in our head. Some people don't have those images in our head. Not all of us watch those movies. But my point is, the brainwashing that has come from mostly the left is the new normal. The new normal, the new normal, the new normal, the new normal, and on and on and on and on and on it goes, because they want to lock us down for 3 years. And so if they lock us down for 3 years and then bring in technology to control us, we're going to have really big problems. Okay?
Yep.
So we have to fight the system in the sense of being awake, doing everything lawful to fight the system, and so that we can vote people in or vote people out. There are governors and mayors all over the United States that people are ready to kick out of office because of the crazy draconian laws. Okay, you live in New York. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So,
Good old Big Bird. Wilhelm, what's his name? it's not Bill de Blasio. It's Wilford, something Wilhelm.
Yeah, yeah, and where you live, people are exiting like it's Egypt. Crime is going up, and you got to have some serious faith to stay there, buddy. Because man, what I saw happen in New York, I was like, wow. I don't think I could do it. But anyway, what else? Did we talk about the mask?
Yeah, a little bit. I want to talk about the hypocrisy of not only all of a sudden we were banning straws, because the plates that's not plastic, but the straws, they're horrible. So we're banning plastic straws, and then all of a sudden they forgot about the straws, and everyone, you have to wear a mask all day long. So now there's just masks everywhere. They're all over the street. They're in the rivers or in the parks. They're in the water. You go in the ocean, they're just floating around because that doesn't hurt the environment, all the masks. And then they just put an ordinance in for last year that they're going to charge you a nickel for every plastic bag that you use when you go to the store. Yeah. Okay? Because they didn't want to do it. And then they banned plastic bags. You had to bring your own bag, your own shopping bag.
Yeah.
Okay. So now before they had you have to bring your own shopping bag because we don't want the plastic bags all over the place. So now COVID came in and said, oh, that's a virus risk because you're bringing the same bag all the time. Now you have to use the plastic bags.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, which one is it?
Which one is it? Exactly. Man.
And it's just ridiculous.
Going back on the racial issue. He said they want what? Racial something. Like I guess they want more sensitivity.
Oh yeah, sensitivity. Stuff? Yeah. So and the training.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about there.
Yeah, they wanted to give the training, which is actually, I don't know if you've been to any of the training, but it's horrible. It really is. It's a BLM rally.
It's re-education camps.
There
you go. Re-education camps, and it's going to teach you about white privilege and inclusion and diversity, right?
Yeah, the diversity training. That's what it is.
Let's explain that.
Explain.
The word diversity. Nothing wrong with that. Like a diverse.
No, they got to use nice words. Yeah, you got to candy coat it.
Nothing wrong with inclusion, but their form of inclusion will lead to debauchery, because that's where you're going to bring in the pedophilia, the bestiality, the alternate lifestyle that make no sense on the God's green earth, right? No sense at all. Listen, guys, this is to water down society, destroy the family, and society will start to collapse a little bit, and so they can manage that when it happens, right? Because imagine, listen, this really grind my gears.
And this is where it had to all start. With 150 years ago, you had to desensitize people, just like they prophesied, even in the Dead Sea Scrolls, that the Hinduism will come back. Because if you have evolution and it's just this, and we're perfecting everything, if you have evolution, there is no God. If there's just no God, then we can just grow up as anything we want, and that means some races are inferior, and that's what Hitler used, because they just weren't good enough. Even Darwin himself. If you love Darwin, he was a huge racist. Okay, and if you like Hillary, then she was, worshipped Margaret Sanger.
Much.
So when you see all this, it all stems from backing up and teaching evolution. We're nothing but a bunch of apes, and it's survival of the fittest, and they just fit all this narrative together. So now, if we're just evolving, then we can go to the next step of evolving, which would be, the bionic man.
Yeah. The demonization of an ethnicity has been going on for a long time. Like you said, Hitler, he demonized the Jews. There are 5%ers out there that are connected to the Nation of Islam. Some of them don't call themselves Muslims, but listen, it's connected to the Nation of Islam. It's brought on, first there was Malcolm X and Clarence X, I think his name was. They were running together, then they had disagreements, and Clarence broke off and started the 5% movement, which says that you are a god, right? Arm, leg, arm, head, Allah means you're a god. Sounds familiar? And find this in the New Age and everything, but here's the point. They hate white people. They demonize white people and then bring in slavery aspects and colonization. You heard that term recently. The colonizers and all this stuff to make themselves superior. It's the nation of gods and earth, the women of the earth, the men of the gods. And so this is where you get some of the teachings of blacks were all kings in Africa, which makes no economic sense. You can't have multiple kings, then it's worth nothing.
Everybody's a king.
We were all kings and queens and all that stuff, Afrocentricity and all that stuff, right? And there's nothing wrong with looking back at old African culture and all that stuff, but listen, most of us we're not born there. If a white person came from Africa, right, and came to America as an immigrant and got naturalized as an American, wouldn't they be an African American? So the terms that are made up are to cause division systematically. Now that's a systematic thing that we could talk about. That's there.
And you know what's funny about that too? I forgot the guy's name on YouTube. He's a British guy, but he talks about the slavery. Look up the real history of slavery. And originally, back before the 1800s, they were stealing people from Britain and bringing them to Africa to sell them as slaves.
Yeah.
So it was the white people enslaved by none other than those people with those long robes, and all our senators bowed down to them.
Yeah,
and they were enslaving whites.
You also have back then the term white people in Africa. They were the Africa called the white people. They weren't Europeans. They were the Arabs, the Persians. And the Persians and the Europeans had a hard time getting down into Africa because they would get killed. And eventually they did something, and then they started getting in, and that's where But it was the Arabs, the Persians that started the biggest slave trade ever. It was them. But the narrative has to keep it on white man. The white man did it. The white man did it. The white man did it. When lo and behold, you find out that our brothers and sisters over there, as far as black people, were selling us as well. Okay, so that's the past. And we don't want to hammer on the past all the time. That's what they want you to do.
But that's the truth. That's what happened.
But why aren't any of these same people that care so much about black lives talking about the slave trade that's going on right now in Africa? It started right back up. Just many bodies, young and old, are being traded. And Revelation 18, when Babylon, I think it's 17 or 18, right? when Babylon is falling, there's a scripture about all of the stuff Mystery Babylon, Babylon the Great, was selling, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it comes down to human souls. Human souls
Drunk with the blood of the
are going to
saints.
be traded
Mhm.
all the way upon until Jesus Christ returns. When I read through Revelation many times, and I didn't see that until like
Until you
2
saw
years
it.
ago. But it's there. You can go into King James, ESV, NIV, all it's there. So another tidbit for you guys is somebody I know. They were into the New Age, and they said when they went to these New Age conferences, these people admitted that they bring up these Hollywood movies about slavery, 12 Years a Slave, all this stuff, every so often to keep us divided. Right? Because
Yeah, when it starts to wear off, they just kind of revamp it, polish it up.
Yeah, and exactly. Here's a system, just like the 9/11 and World War One, World War Two. You have to have a boogeyman.
Mm-hmm.
So we had the communists. We have Vietnam. We got 9/11. It was the Muslims or the what are those people called over there? The
Taliban,
Saudis and whatever.
Come, Mr. Taliban.
Yeah, Taliban and all that, right? So you have to have a boogeyman so you can start more wars, but that's a way to get the people to sleep again, because around 9/11 we were waking up about a lot of things, and then boom, that happened. COVID is this year's 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
It's the boogeyman.
Yeah, never let a good crisis go to waste, right?
Huh?
Never let a good crisis go to waste.
That's their motto. Never let a good crisis go to waste. So, all of this that we're talking about is directly connected to what you saw last night in the debates.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that we're probably the only channel right now that's actually explaining a lot more.
Maybe
because
Gons.
This is the information that many people don't have. And I really hope that you guys are getting a lot from this. We didn't even plan to talk about all this stuff here.
It all fits together.
Yeah, it all fits together. But we have to remember also that China, they are, and I did a show about this, I'll be releasing soon. They are instrumental in the global elites push towards one world government, because China is the testing ground. Other than Estonia, if you haven't seen the video on Estonia, it's about 30 minutes. It's from another channel. I can't remember their name right now. Sheesh. But it's called Bilderberg and the New World Order, something like that. And they did a video on Estonia, and you wouldn't believe the technological advances that have come up in Estonia. It's another testing ground for the Bilderbergs. Bilderberg is another name for globalist, New World Order, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it's not a hamburger joint, Build-A-Burger.
Right?
No.
So, again, China is the testing ground. I think it's major because it's fully operational in a sense. They have an AI that could scan the population in 1 second, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think when it says the whole population, I think it's only talking about the population that the cameras are.
Right.
Wherever the cameras are, because China's huge. So they have that AI, powerful AI, right? The social credit score. This is also very important when you talk about Joe Biden. They want to bring this here. Social credit score.
Yeah, he didn't even talk about that.
Say again?
He didn't even talk about that.
They need to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, if you ever seen the movie Black Mirror, which is from Europe, they talk about it in there, and a lot of other technologies, because they have to do the research to make these films. It's not just sci-fi out of somebody's brain, a great idea. They research the stuff, then they bring it into the films. And anyway, the person in the TV show in that one particular series, um, they were using their cell phone to get likes, and everyone, like when you pass people with your phone, and if they like you, they could just tuk, 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 give you a couple points, deduct points, right? So this lady had to go to a wedding without. Let me give you the short version. She had to go to a wedding, and throughout this, that's the narrative of the whole show. She got to go to this wedding, but along the line, she lost all these points, and then by the end of it, she had to just get out the system because it was just fruitless, right? That's the system that they have in China. They even have it to where if you say you're obese or something, right? Or not even obese, they put you on a scale. They're trying to phase this program in. They put you on a scale, and it's to embarrass you or to tax you for what you're going to buy. Okay,
you're breathing more air.
Yeah, breathe in more air, all this stuff. And so imagine now, when your credit score goes down, you get put up on big screens around the city so that people could, look at you weird, and
and it's perpetual at that point. Yeah.
Yeah. So and if you talk against the government, oh, forget about it. He's done.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to comply with every government guideline and whatever. So anyway, that's a social credit score. We kind of have a form of it here that's been around for a while. It's called your credit score, right?
Yeah, it's just one step in that direction.
Yeah,
I think Facebook is probably a push in that direction.
Yeah, somebody said carbon print, exactly, carbon footprint and all that. Before, your credit score, it was basically, you can get a car, you can get a house, whatever. Now it's to the point where if your job, depending on the job, sees your credit score is bad, you won't get that job. It's a problem, okay? So just bear in mind, we're at the precipice of this already. So we don't need Biden and Kamala and whoever else is controlling them to bring this here, right? Again, it's a technocratic system. I know you have some stuff to say before I.
Oh yeah, well, there's a million things. But that being said, I don't think Biden has any clue of what's going on. So the real question is, who was that at the debates last night?
Some people say it could have been a clone. I don't know if I.
We got three possibilities. He was either he channeled a demon, and he was possessed because his eyes were black. There's they sent in the clones. Send in the clones. They're all to be clones. And
that really went on though.
Oh, well, that's the next one. But let me just close up on the clone thing, because that sounds really weird. However, I'm seeing more and more, I don't know what you call them evidences, but for lack of a better term, evidences that they do actually clone these people, or at least, Mission Impossible type stuff where they'll find someone that looks like them and then surgically alter them to kind of fit and train them to do all this stuff. So it could have been he was possessed, could have been he was a clone, or it could have been
what I'm about to show, right? Check this out, everybody. This is just one thing that was sent to me today. There you can see, but there was an article yesterday that came out, a couple articles about Biden's team not wanting to no investigation on any earpiece or anything.
Right. First they said, yeah, we'll have an inspection, then they backed out.
Yeah, they backed out of the inspection. So why would you back out of the inspection if there was nothing wrong? So here in these screenshots, you can see something going on there. And if you don't believe this screenshot, just go and look at it yourself, find the timestamps or whatever, and see what's going on. So that's one thing there. I believe, and this is my this is my thoughts, okay? I believe that because what Biden looked like to me, and this might sound a little weird, right?
Well, that's where we live.
Biden is either he was smelling his own flatulation, or he was talking to somebody. It was obvious. He looked distracted. And lo and behold, this photo comes out today with the screenshot. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat, because I saw it, and this was hard to watch, not because of the constant interruption. It was just Biden said nothing, and he brought up all these things with no facts. He was disrespectful to the president of the United States, calling him clown and all this stuff, as we said before. So I just believe that whatever the next two debates come out to be, however they handle it. Oh, and he was pretty much waltzing with this dude.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. This is just... This guy was helping Joe Biden like nothing. Okay? He would not interrupt Joe Biden as much as he interrupted President Trump. Okay? And Trump called it out. He's like, I'm debating you and Biden, Chris. So listen, we gotta have a little humor, okay? We gotta laugh about some of this stuff because it's serious, okay? I know you have a couple memes you want to show there.
Yeah. Check this out.
Oh yeah, let me show it here at the stream. There we go. This is the Joe Biden that we're talking about. This is the guy we're talking about. He's so weird. Go to the next one if you got. He's always touching women, man. All inappropriate. He has a wife. Why are you so close to these ladies?
Not who knows? Is she in on this or what?
and when you go back to the racial issue, Joe Biden's he was a part of Hillary Clinton's super predators comment. He said the same thing. He helped put a lot of black people in jail. So did Kamala Harris. She
boasted about it.
Somebody said she is the cops. You want to defund the police? She is the police. She's put
and all of a sudden she locked people up for smoking dope for years, and then gets on there. Oh yeah, I smoked it with Tupac. We go way back.
You didn't do nothing.
Or 3 Pac or whatever she said. I don't know.
So these people are just corrupt and evil. Okay.
Hey, let's talk about the Democratic logo.
Oh yeah. Oh, we need. You know what? I need to bring that up. You have that?
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. Let's show that. Now, people, we're not what you would call conspiracy theorists.
I am.
Okay. I hate that term. I hate it. These are just facts. Okay. Minus the clone thing. We said it. We don't know any of that. Okay. We're just saying that somebody said, and it could be whatever. We don't know. Okay.
Oh wait.
But this logo right here, you can view it two ways, right?
Oh, where's the? Oh wait, that's this is close. They have one with America here too. Did I have that?
Yeah, they do have one with America, but where's that?
Oh, I gotta find it. Whoa.
Okay, let me. All right. So I'm big on symbolisms, okay? And I don't go overboard on symbolism. I don't try to look at the triangle under Jay-Z's armpit. You see all these videos, they triangle here, triangle in the nose.
Oh yeah.
None of that stuff.
Oh, by the way, someone put the on one of your videos on MeWe. It's like, oh, these people are Satanists because you had the one girl on there, and at one point, one split second in the in the frame, she's like this, and her hand went up like this. All of a sudden, she's flashing demon signals. I was like, you got to stop.
Wow.
Oh, here it is.
All right, let me where's that? Bring it up yet?
Yeah, hang on one second.
Yeah. So when we point out what's in these in the logo, and some of you have probably already seen it online somewhere. There, the people that came up with the idea for this. There's two types of symbolism in it, and I'll let David explain the one he told us yesterday. But the first one, as you saw the logo, it has a star in the D, and if you flip it, it's a pentagram. Pretty much.
Yeah, here we go. We got it. Let me see.
And remember, I told you there's a connection going on with the party right now, an extreme occult connection. And I know that it could seem like it's far-fetched, but trust me, when you learn about symbolisms and the way these people operate with numerology, symbols of Satan, or what they would say, they'd be more apt to say Lucifer. Okay? They worship Lucifer. That goes for Bill Gates and his wife as well. And they believe that he's the light bearer and that he is the good guy. This is coming from what you call Gnosticism and also from the Kabbalah. And Satan is sometimes seen as a female, or Lucifer is seen sometimes as a female or a male, right? And he was a fallen cherub. And he has a symbol, the symbol of the goat, but the goat is just one symbol. The most popular symbol is the symbol of the dragon or the snake, because the cherub, they're serpentine looking, okay? And so he's not also called the Nakash in the Old Testament. So these people, what does this symbol mean to you?
Can you see it?
Yeah, we're showing it. You got D2, big old O, or 20. What does that mean to you?
What they say it means is the Democratic Party for 2020.
That's what they say.
But there's always something else built in. You look at the first D there on the left, you'll see that is a pentagram.
Right.
They turned it sideways, and they even emphasized it because they see that light blue part. So they expect you to say, okay, well, that's the top. So if you turn that up, you'll see that's a symbol of the goat pentagram, and they put it in there. It's a symbol of death. Okay? And then they got the number 2, and then they got America inside the circle. So their whole agenda is laid out in, death to America, because they want America to fall so they can bring in their new world order.
Yeah, and even if, like, some of you don't believe what we just said, that is their plan, because they're trying to bring in communism. Okay? So communism, when you hear Black Lives Matter and all these people saying that we want to burn the system down, they don't mean police.
They don't mean the buildings. That's just the outside. They mean the whole system.
The whole system.
They want death to America, and that's what they preach.
They want the family, like we said before, gone. The family structure that we have. They want to re-educate everybody. They want control of the educational system. They want to, again, defund the police. They want to bring in all these so-called good things, free this, free that, free this, free that, healthcare for all, blah, 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 blah. It's to rearrange America because they hate the system that we have, because our system is actually more under God than anything else, right? Now, I know, I get it. We had some deists, I get it, and all this stuff. But for the most point, if you look at the structure of America, through our Constitution, it's something that this is the closest to a king, not a kingdom, but a structure that reflects the Bible. You have freedom, and all sorts of stuff to stop tyranny from coming in. So if you have a system like that and the rest of the world is falling to another system, you have to get rid of the last one, which is America. We are the last bastion of hope and freedom in the world, and a lot of missionaries go out from America. A lot of people don't understand the amount of good regarding missionary work and helping other countries that have come out of America. Yes, we've done a lot of bad stuff through bad people, but that doesn't negate that we've done a lot of good as well. So we have this dichotomy going on, and when you hear about the deep state, all of this again, this child sex trafficking, the drugs that were bought in from everywhere to make richer people richer and to destroy our neighborhoods, not just black, everybody's still suffering. They just used the black community in the first time to do that experiment, and then it boiled over everywhere else. The legalization of marijuana is one of the debates that's continue to go on. But I could tell you of an instance, right, where I believe it was a young lady drove through a school zone at 80 miles per hour. And she hit a car, and the kid died. She was on marijuana. She wasn't on nothing else. Marijuana. So, I understand the medical purposes and all this stuff, but this is another way to help to start bring down our society by legalizing everywhere, because they're going to make money on it. Come on now. They're not going to do it unless
that's why
they're
they
going to
did
make
the
money.
same thing with everything else. Cigarettes.
Yeah, and a libertarian would say, don't have prohibition and all this stuff. Just let people do what they want. I don't know. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this live stream. Did we cover every aspect?
Yeah.
Is there anything that we're missing? That we could
How
have
about
said?
elder abuse?
Elder abuse with Joe Biden.
Yeah.
I just wanted to fill in some holes for you guys, man. Especially for the people that don't know. There's a lot more we could talk about, but let's keep it step by step as this whole election process engages, or comes forth in the next month or so.
Yep.
Right? About a month.
Yeah, and let's be real clear that this is not our home.
Right.
Okay, it's we're pilgrims. We're passing through here, but while we're passing through here, Yeshua calls us to do good, okay, and to be righteous and to show people His glory. We're supposed to be living epistles. So while we're here, we're going to fight for what's right that's out there. And so some Christians are like, well, we're going to the new millennium, and Jesus is going to reign, so I'm not going to vote here. Well, that doesn't help us here now, and it doesn't help the next generation coming up behind us should we tarry. Okay, so we need to do what's right to create it, because if it wasn't for the people who did that in the past, we wouldn't have been able to send missionaries out to the world to reach millions, literally, with the gospel. So, yes, we get it. There's no man that's perfect, and we're not perfect. Trump's not perfect. Nobody's perfect. But right now, he's a Cyrus, because he's doing the things that the Lord has called him to do. And we need to get out, and we need to vote. And we need to vote for someone who's standing behind those things that we would stand behind. Right. We need to pray for our leaders. If you don't think Trump is saved, pray for him to get salvation and to see things more in the gospel light. Okay, that just makes sense. You don't just throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak. And we recognize that America is not perfect either. Pray for America, that we would see more of the light and more of His word would get out, and just thank God Almighty that He is coming back soon, and He will rule and reign with perfection very soon.
Absolutely. And to piggyback on your point before we close, if you're a Christian and you say that we shouldn't be involved in politics, listen, from the 60s late 50s, 60s, going into the 70s, we had a lot of things come in, a lot of things taken away, that would have kept our country moving forward in a pretty awesome light. The amount of changes in the amount of social changes, it goes up like a hockey stick. When they took prayer out, Bible out, introduced free sex and all this stuff, it did damage. It took 20 years for it to really get a foothold. How long do you think it will take to reverse it? And who do you think is going to be the cause of change for it to reverse? It'll take people that are going to go against the grain, and that includes you. So there's politics all over the Bible, all over, from the beginning. What did Lucifer do? He came and disrupted a kingdom. God put two people. Adam was in charge and his wife, and they were supposed to do some things. And he came in and disrupted the whole thing. It's politics, man. You go on and you see kings, and you got David, you got Solomon, you got all sorts of kings in Israel. You just talked about Cyrus. Cyrus was of the Babylonians. Was the Babylonians?
Yeah, I think so.
Babylonians, right?
You make me go look.
Yeah. Then you move forward, we have the 400 years of silence from God, because Israel was just, the Jewish people were just not getting it right. And in the middle, if you read about the 400 years of silence, you have the Maccabean Wars, you have Hellenism, which is Greek religion, taking over the Jewish people. You had slaughters everywhere. You have, what's his name? Antiochus
Epiphanes.
Antiochus Epiphanes, which was a foreshadowing of the Antichrist. You have him, sacrifices animals, pigs on the altar, all mixed up with politics here, okay? Then by the time you see Jesus come in, you have the Herods. It wasn't just one Herod. Anyway, you have the Herods. You have Rome. You have the Pharisees and the Sadducees, which they came out of the 400 years of silence from the Maccabean Wars. So you have a two-party system, religious and political, basically, that came, that was around the time of Jesus. He went against that grain, and Jesus laid his life down. So it wasn't them that had power to kill Jesus. That's another story, but I'm just putting that in there. Pilate made a decision. Come on, there's politics. Then you go all the way to the disciples. They had to deal with Rome. A lot of that was dealing with Rome all the way up to the book of Revelation. And then now, when the book of Revelation comes, what do you see? You see, by the end, in the middle, you see Antichrist come. You got the 10 kings. You have the 11th, which is the Antichrist. By Revelation 13, you see a technocratic system. Some might disagree on that, but that's fine. Mark of the beast and all this stuff. And Jesus going right back, all the way back to Babylon and the statue of Nebuchadnezzar, right? Mm-hmm. Jesus comes and crushes the last kingdom and brings in his world order, his system, a theocracy that's going to be perfect, and the whole globe is going to come. They'll be able to visit Jesus alive on the throne in Israel. Israel is going to be the center point for religion. And before he comes, they'll still be the center point, because they're going to try to have a new world, one world religion and all that stuff. And they want Israel. They want that the new temple to be that center point. You see, politics is all over the Bible, and we need to be involved. So when I hear, it's a foolish idea that we should not be involved. If I'm not talking now to educate some people, whether they believe me or not, then I'm not doing anything to make things better. I have to work in my family, household first, then bring it out into society. And that's why the church seems like it has lost power, but it's just that many infiltrators have come in, and the saltiness that we had before has dwindled because of all sorts of reasons. So we need to be active. We all have our different positions. Not all of us are called to be preachers or street preachers or whatever.
All different parts of the body.
Different parts of the body. So listen, if you are not active in a certain sense, or not trying to understand what's going on in your world, it will roll over you. It's just how it is. And so I just wanted to encourage you to be vigilant and get some education and follow this stuff, so that you don't have to be vehemently following politics. It's a hard game. You got to keep up with everything, but at least understand what's in front of your eyes. Very important. So with that is our live stream. Thanks for joining you. Thanks for the super chats. We got one from let's see here, Letitia. We have another from All Now, Save None for Later. And hopefully we can do some more live streams. We just thought it was a good idea to do it today. And hey, this is Chris from Don't Let Them Burn. David, can you take us out with a gospel message, please?
Amen. We thank you, Father, for thinking enough of us to put us here at the end of this age, when we will see the culmination of all your prophecies, the culmination of your word, and the ushering in of your kingdom. We're so grateful that, because it is very exciting. At the same time, we want to be diligent, because you tell us not to be deceived. You tell us to be diligent and to know the time and the seasons. So we just give you all the praise and the glory. We thank you for the word. We thank you for the ability to communicate while we still can, and we're looking forward to your return. Amen.
Amen. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Good night.
It's all done?
I think it's spooling. It said error occurred. They might be just be watching us sitting here waiting for it to end.
We'll buy again if it was still on.
Oh boy, it's funny.
All righty. Well, I guess if you just close the window, it'll end.
Let me see. Let me check YouTube.
Wave if you could still see us.
Hey, if you can still see us, let us know. That'll help. Can you still see us, everybody? No one's saying anything. Oh, there's a delay, so let's see. Live streaming now. I think we're still on. Yep, we're still on. This thing won't end.
It will never end. This is the show that never ends.